Aidan Anderson is the founder and CEO of The Local Project, Australia's fastest growing design and architecture media platform. What began in 2016 as an Instagram page has grown into a global brand spanning print, film, digital, and now real estate with On the Market. With over 4 million followers and an international team, Aidan's mission is simple: to celebrate extraordinary design and the people behind it. And I've just learned that you're only 32.
32 years young, hopefully.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So impressive. Welcome.
Thank you, mate.
And thank you for doing this.
Mate, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Before we get into the story, what's the one thing people would be surprised to learn about you outside of The Local Project?
Oh, you know what? No one believes me when I say this, but in a very previous life, and this is actually quite a crack up, but 18, 19 and 20 years old, for 3 to 6 months of the year, I would travel to Thailand and train and fight Muay Thai professionally. So that is a previous life of mine. And yes, I've had way too many elbows to the head, but it was an experience of a lifetime and absolutely loved it.
You still do it?
Absolutely not. No. So if I dribble throughout this, you know why. It's from too many punches.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start here. For those that don't know, who are you? Who is The Local Project? And how did we get here?
Big questions, massive questions. Well, yeah, I'm Aidan. I am the founder and CEO of The Local Project, like you said. And I guess the story of me and The Local Project is, almost 10 years ago. It's going to be 10 years old in March next year. I was actually just a chippy. I had a workshop out at Botany in the industrial area. I was knocking together furniture, doing fit outs. And one day in this dusty workshop, I decided to sit down and create an Instagram page where the intent was to put up the work I was doing, the fit outs, the furniture, you name it. But at the same time, I remember in this co-working workshop I was in, there were these amazing furniture makers and joiners and other chippies around me. And one day I decided to take a photo of this fella called Nathaniel and one of the bookshelves that he had just designed in his workshop. And I said, mate, do you mind if I just put this on Instagram with a little bit of a caption about who you are, what you do? And yeah, posting that was literally just changed my life. It got about 20 likes, which was 20 more than the previous post I'd done of my work. And it really started for me, I guess, my passion and love for celebrating other people and makers and creators. And that was the first post, and I think we're about 10,000 deep now, but that was the journey of The Local Project and what kicked it all off.
Wow. And if I said, who are you? Who are you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I actually haven't been asked that for a long, long time, but I think look, I'm just a guy who, loves what he does for a living, loves his partner. I'm very big on health and fitness. I don't know. My identity is definitely attached to my work a lot. So it's kind of hard to look past that a little bit. But, I'm a guy who grew up around this neck of the woods in, eastern suburbs of Sydney, went to a great school, have a great bunch of mates. But for me, in the last 10 years of my life have really been defined about creating this business and, creating the life I have now, which I argue is probably one of the best jobs in the world, where I get to travel the world, see the most beautiful homes in Australia, New Zealand, and now in the US. We've just opened a New York office, which is bizarre. But, for someone who was a chippy 10 years ago, it has been an absolute journey, and I still have so long to go. But I don't know. I'm just kind of having a bit of fun running a business and just seeing where it leads me.
Were you a chippy out of school?
I wasn't. No. Yeah, I was I kind of faked it till you made it. Fake it till you make it. I was, knocking together furniture, doing fit outs, never finished my apprenticeship per se, but grew up in a building site from the age of 12 or 13, where my best mate, Jesse, his old man, was a great chippy. Every summer we would go on site to the amazing homes he was working on, and they just so happened to be like the amazing houses in Temerema, in Bronte. So early exposure to these epic homes across Sydney is probably what started my love for design and architecture too.
And then with The Local Project, so how would you describe, in your words, The Local Project to somebody?
I would say, we're a digital and print publishing house where, we celebrate architecture and design through our magazine, through our Instagram and YouTube. But I always describe it like the key to our success isn't about the buildings or the houses that we feature. It's more so about the people behind it. And, I make this analogy all the time where it's like, we'll film a $30 million house. That's not the thing that wows people. It's often the architect or the homeowner or the designer who is quirky or interesting or who has a great story. It's telling their story and celebrating them that has got us to this point now where, a brick house is a brick house. But again, it's the people behind it that has really made us successful and celebrating and heroing them.
Yeah, story. We're going to get to storytelling. So you didn't come into this with a background in publishing or media.
Yeah.
So how does someone with no real experience go on to build such a beautiful global platform?
I'll ask you the question as well, but it's like, I always think naivety is a complete blessing. Like, I went into publishing and digital media and print media with no fucking idea what to do or how to do it. And I always say that was my biggest strength, because publishing is a dinosaur of an industry where it's like there's been the same players for 50, 20, 100 years. They haven't done anything different. So for me as a 1-year-old chippy with an Instagram page coming into this world, I put myself in my audience shoes going, what would I want to see if I was on the other end of this Instagram page or YouTube video or print magazine? And, for us, it wasn't about creating a flimsy little magazine. For us, it was like, let's create a 400-page magazine. And for video, for us, it was like, why not jump into that and start doing some house tours, celebrating people? It's always been a why not, or let's have a crack, rather than let's do one thing that we know we're good at and never change. So I'd say, again, naivety has been a blessing. But, do you agree? I'm curious to know.
Perhaps, I guess the only way I can relate to that is when I think back to early stages in my career as an agent. And I think to myself, and I don't want to upset any sort of young agents out there, but I think of the sort of version of me that was 20, 25, even up to 30, but let's say 20 to 25.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think I would list my house with that person. Yet that version of me listed a lot of houses. So and I also think about the bravado that I had trying to just get a job in real estate, which was I walked into 3 offices and asked if I could speak to the principal. And I was, again, only 20 when I did that. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what was I thinking? But anyway, I did it. And so that's the only way I can relate to that. So I can see where that comes from.
Yeah.
What was the moment you realized this could be more than just posting your carpentry work on Instagram?
Yeah. I think there's definitely been a few moments and a few pinch me moments, but I think one of the most impactful moments, I think, was when we posted our first video. And like, for the record, we only had 10 YouTube subscribers at this point, or maybe 20 or 30. But I remember posting this video that I had spent a year saving up to use a good production team. It was 3 or 4 grand, which was everything to me back then. I'd given it to these guys. They'd filmed this video, and we'd released it on YouTube. I didn't expect too much from it. I was hopeful that it would kind of kick off and we'd get some views and a response. But the biggest moment was just watching the next morning, waking up and seeing an absolute flood of messages of people going, holy shit, Aiden, that video that you guys produced and put out there about the design, the people, I'd never felt that before. Even with Instagram, there's likes and there's comments, but just the engagement from this of people listening to another person's voice, understanding their charisma, understanding who they were and how the building came together. That for me was this kind of light bulb moment going, holy shit, celebrating people, listening to their voices, especially through video. We are onto something special here. And in this world of publishing, I didn't see many people, especially doing video either. So it was a bit of a light bulb moment.
And is it fair to say that you pioneered that as well?
I don't want to say pioneer, because I think, at the time Architectural Digest were doing their thing. There was definitely a few other channels on YouTube, but I was inspired by them and tried to add this layer of, I guess, the local project where it was, beautifully produced, curated, slow slider shots, which openly was very influenced by Nowness, which is an amazing publication over in Europe and America now as well. It was our local TLP twist on what Nowness did with more of a people focus. So not quite a pioneer, but heavily inspired.
Did you have a vision for how you wanted the video or the brand to look, or did that again just evolve over time?
I always, and I think this goes back to my chippy and woodworking days, like I am a perfectionist, and I'm very kind of like, and you need to be in that world as well. Like everything is to the millimeter. And I tried to apply that mentality to the local project as a media business as well, where it didn't have to be perfect, but it had to feel premium. It had to feel considered and curated as well. And I applied that to the business and just wanted to go with this polished, beautiful feel to every house we featured or every person we featured. And again, not that it had to be a $30 million premium luxury home, but just making sure it was considered, beautifully designed, and had a great story to it.
Yeah, understood. Was there a time in the early days when you thought it may not work?
Yeah, about 1,000,001, I think. There was definitely some hairy moments, and like negative thoughts always kind of came into the back of my mind. But, you know, I squashed them pretty quickly. Like, I'm a competitive bastard. I am very, very driven. And yeah, like I said, there was definitely some tricky moments and some close calls along the way. But weirdly, it kind of just drove me even more, going like, well, let's figure out another pathway to move forward. Let's figure it out and get to the top.
And when you say you squash those moments, how did you do that?
I think just like, it's weird. Like the first 3 years of the business came with so much rejection. Like the amount of clients I reached out to, the architects, designers, I would often get laughed out of meeting rooms, especially with client pitches going, Aiden, this is a waste of time. Like, Instagram's not going to take off. Digital media is not it. And in some weird way, I've kind of created this numbness to rejection in a sense. So, you know, whenever I noticed that I would get rejected by a client or a partner, whatever it might be, I would then apply that to myself as well. When even if a thought was like, oh, is this going to work, Aiden? I would easily just go, you know what? Forget about it. Let's move on, because we know it will. We need to just keep pushing forward and driving.
So what, is it fair to say there's self-belief in that? Because there was rejection.
Yep.
But you weren't going to accept that.
Self-belief meets stubbornness, I think. Like, definitely I'm a stubborn person as well. I took the approach of I have no choice but to move forward. So yes, self-belief, but just drive, I would say, more than anything. Just keep pushing forward, keep going.
Okay, I hear.
Yeah.
Well, that leads into my next question. So you chose to expand into print when everyone said it was dead. Mm-hmm. Why did you take that risk?
Yeah, a lot of people asked me at the time as well. They were like, Aiden, are you batshit crazy? And the answer is probably yes. But for me, I looked at print and I looked at the competitors around me. And the reason why they had a one-up against me was because in the world, especially the design and architecture world, everyone is so tangible. Like everyone, the architects, designers, they love the touch. They love the feel of something that's physical there in front of them. And that was what gave them this premium look and feel as well. And I struggled reaching out to designers, architects, contacts, and they would say, oh, look, you're just digital. We want to go to print first. We want to do this. And it got to the point where I just realized that in order for us to compete with these other people, as well as meet the needs of so many people with the tangible side of things, I was like, fuck it, let's do a print magazine. But if we're going to do this, we're not going to follow our competitors and create an 80-page magazine which gets pumped out every 2 months. Let's consider, again, going back to the handcrafted and chippy side of me, let's consider something that is curated, considered, and create something that will sit on a coffee table for 3 to 4 years, rather than something that will go in the bin just after a couple of weeks. So I sat down with my design team and said, guys, let's create a 400-page magazine. They laughed at me and they said, are you insane? But I explained that logic of saying, let's anchor it in longevity. Let's anchor it in beautiful materials. Let's get beautiful print paper. Let's again make it considered and curated. And I remember releasing that issue number 1. It would have been 2019, so 3 years into the business. We went down to Den Fair, which is a design fair in Melbourne, and we're handing it out for free. I was like, oh, I hope people love this. The response from that was just insane. And for me, I always say it was the moment when we matured from a blog, an online publisher, to a publication. And it really cemented us along those other people in the space where we were no longer just an Instagram page, but we've got a magazine, a beautiful one at that, and we've got an incredibly strong digital audience. So a game changer.
So so you had a vision, you had a design team, you're going into print. Mm-hmm. So that's your idea. Mm-hmm. How did the design team that you had buy into that, or how did you get them to buy into that is what I'm trying to say. Because you're doing things that have really never been done before, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get them to buy into your vision?
I don't know. I mean, like, I would have been 24 at this point, and at that point I probably had 2 or 3 team members, and my design team, for the record, was one graphic designer, so not quite a team. But I remember sitting down, and her name was Kathleen, our lead designer, and she was like 22, so she was young, and she was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Like, I've never created a print publication before. She had never done it. But I think it was about finding the right people, especially on the early days, who had that similar energy of like, fuck it, let's just have a crack and see where we land as well. So yeah, we learnt the hard way. We realized how tricky it was to put a print publication together. But we did it. And then once we saw that response for the first one, we just said, this is it. Like, let's just keep going and adding on and making it better and better every time.
How did you feel when you held that first magazine? And if you were to relate that to any other businesses, like, can you share that feeling to other business owners? Like, what did it feel like?
Oh, I don't know how to, I mean, this is all I know, again, apart from the chippy side of things, but I remember picking it up, and like, there's this weird thing with print as well, and a fresh batch of print magazines. The smell is so distinctive as well. It like hits you in the face of this fresh paper, like straight off the print run. And I remember just looking at it and feeling it and just going, this is bloody amazing. Like, this is seriously something special. But to relate it to something else in business, I'm not sure. Do you have anything up your sleeve?
It could be like my first sale.
Yeah,
which I don't even remember it. That's a sale.
Yeah,
I do not remember my first sale, and I think I've had 1,500.
Yeah, there you go.
I wish I did.
You don't remember your first?
No.
That's a shame.
I really wish I did. I cannot remember what my first sale was.
Definitely. Yeah.
I remember my first open house because it was in Newtown and I got lost.
Yeah, nice.
And I turned up late, and I had to park in no stop in.
Love it.
And my first boss said, he sort of, as I walked to the open house, realizing I've really stuffed up, he said, if you ever turn up late again, you're fired.
Yeah.
As he said that, I turned around, I could see I was getting a no stopping fine.
Nice.
And again, I was only 20, 21. I was like, I actually can't afford that.
Yeah.
So that's what I remember. It's not quite a sale, but anyway.
Early 20s energy, how good's that?
Well, you know what? The most memorable days of, say, my Bresic Whitney journey, which is now 12 years old, were the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Because that's when you're the underdog. There's just something so satisfying about every win counts. Everything's so satisfying. And as you're the underdog and you start to build momentum and you chip away, I don't know. I think it's easier to be number 2 or number 3 or probably number 10 than it is to be number 1. I don't know. It's just
I agree.
Yeah, just the thought process. So how did you keep the core of the brand authentic as it grew across so many formats, like the film, social, print, and now even real estate?
Yeah, I think just always taking that curated lens, and I think listening to our audience as well. And I've always treated our audience as, I've been so sensitive about that. And over the 10 years, the trust that we have built with this audience, they've come to expect a certain level of production or houses or design. And I learnt over the years, especially with, paid and commercial partners, where, they twisted my arm ever so slightly. They said, Aiden, can we just get this project in here? Like, we'll pay you a lot of money and, it's not quite the caliber, but, let's just do it. And in the early days, I'd be like, look, we need the cash. Like, let's just do it. But the audience response to that was just so blaringly obvious that they expected only the best. So along the journey, I was like, you know what? We need to keep it curated, high end. We need to make it look and feel like it's the best of the best, because as soon as we lose our audience's trust, we don't have a business. Like, we don't have an audience, and we can't make money or grow a brand. So I've been super protective of that, and again, the perfectionist in me, where it's like, let's just keep pushing to be the best of the best in ourselves as well. That's just carried through and continues to as well. Have
any of those decisions to say no been really big decisions? Like, you've had to say that to somebody who you really respect? Has there been one decision where you've said, no, I can't do that, that stands out for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been a few big deals and clients that have said, hey, let's do this together, or we want to work with you on this. And I guess the irony is, telling someone no or telling a brand no often makes them want you more. And it's been so interesting over the years saying no to particular people and brands, and the continual knocking on the door off the back of it as well. So yeah, no, it's there's been a few, but we back ourselves, and we've got the confidence to do that now after 10 years, especially.
Well, what do you think you did get wrong at the start, and what did you learn from it outside of what we just discussed?
Yeah. Oh, look, there's so much I did wrong. I think the biggest lesson I learned, especially in the 5 years, is that you need to surround yourself with people that you trust, and you need to surround yourself with amazing leaders that you can trust. Because for me, and especially early 20s, mid-20s, even now, like, you know, I get this tunnel vision where I'm like, we need to just keep pressing forward and doing this. And the best decision I've made in the last 3 years has been getting an amazing leadership group around me that just create this sense of calmness in the business, where the first 5 years we were a bunch of 20-year-olds running around like absolute headless chooks, just doing everything we could as quick as we can, as well as we can. But to have these amazing leaders around me, it's just created this, again, this sense of calmness where they see the direction, they help steer the direction, and I'm a lot more at peace, and I'm just, I can let go of a little bit now as well. Whereas previously it was just all this tense build up. We've got to keep doing, we've got to keep pushing, but yeah, just surround yourself with the right people, which obviously is so cliche, but I definitely learned the hard way there.
You feel like that applies in every area of your life, even personal?
100%. Yeah. You are who you hang out with as well, right? Like, I know my mates around me, there are a few hooligans, but there's some really special people as well who are doing similar things, or not so similar, but they've all got their heads screwed in for the most part. So
yeah. I think my favorite saying is something like, you become like the 5 people that you hang around the most. I actually had a birthday dinner with 7 of my friends last night, and I just had a moment where I looked at the table and I was like, this is the most solid group of guys, like different age brackets as well. Like, some of them are so incredibly successful and wealthy, but also like just combination of wealth and fitness and family and good values and good morals. And I was like, it's really like, I felt like it's a real honor to be sitting at this table. That's good, because this can only have a positive effect. I want to ask you about the collaboration events that you run. So, for example, I attended the one with P. Johnson, the dinner that we had. I'm just curious because, like, I still look back at that event. One of my goals for this podcast is to run an event like that with brands that I love. But just from your perspective, so what was the goal, and what impact do you see from gatherings like that?
Well, that was the first night we met, actually. I remember I invited you after our other friend, Adrian, had said, you've got to meet him. And you gracefully accepted to come along. We had a great chat that night, I remember as well. But that was, and so many of these events, I call them no agenda events, where I remember chatting to Patrick about that, and he reached out saying, hey, should we do something cool together? I was like, yeah, do we need to be celebrating anything? He was like, why don't we just get an amazing bunch of people in a room and have a conversation? And that's literally what it was. And like, I think about that, there was maybe a handful of people I hadn't met. There was a handful of people I'm incredibly close with, and a handful that I was looking to build even better relationships with as well. And I look at the back of that, and even our relationship now, and like why I'm sitting here, that is exactly off the back of you and I shaking hands, having a great chat. So they're amazing events because there is no agenda, and it's a for lack of a better word, a safe space to just have a good yarn and have a chat and a few vinos. But it's kind of just been just people connecting with people. And I think that is the best way to just start a genuine, authentic relationship, which goes so far in every world.
That was such a good event. And the book that I've got on the table here is something that I think you gave us some bag, like show bags. What do you call them?
Gift bags.
Gift bags. And I was just like, I was so impressed meeting you that night. I was so impressed at how or who you had assembled. And just the way everything ran. And I was like, wow, like I want, like in my mind, I was like, I want to do an event like that one night.
Yeah.
That is really good. So
let's do one. Honestly, that came together, 3 weeks before. It was somewhat rushed, but it just came down to the people. And again, like I hadn't met a lot of that people that night, and it was just saying, hey, do you guys want to have a nice meal, a bit of a chat and a vino? And it came together. So let's plan to do one of those together. That'd be class.
I would love that. Yeah. Thank you. Storytelling. So the focus on the people behind the projects, and it's so like, it is so central to the local project. Mm-hmm. Can you just elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, definitely. Like I think we did this big analysis of all of our videos over the last 3-4 years, probably mid last year. And we sat down, we looked at the views, we looked at the comments, the engagement of our top 10 performing videos each year. And it was so clear that it had nothing to do with the homes or houses. It actually had to do with, and like a great example is one of our most viewed videos is Nick Tobias, the architect. He is one of the most charismatic guys I know. And you watch him sit down in front of a camera. He's telling this story about his own home that he's designed. He's got 2 boys and he's created the boys' den downstairs, and the confidence he has, and he goes through some of the details of the house. It is a beautiful house, don't get me wrong, but you read the comment section and everyone is going, this guy is bloody unreal. Like, this guy is such a great storyteller. And there was a theme for all these videos, the top 10, where, again, it wasn't an amazing house, or it was beautiful, but the size didn't matter, the location didn't matter. It was purely the people telling that story. And like, I'd known this a little while ago, and that's why we kind of pushed heavily in photography as well, of profiling people and photographing them in their space. But this data was just crazy to see, where it's, again, it doesn't really matter where the house is or what it is, but it's just the people behind it. And that's what people, again, to the point about dinners, it's like humans connect with humans. As soon as you realize that and center your content or ethos around that, that's when you're going to get more and more engagement as well.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say Nick Tobias. Is that the house in Watson's Bay?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, because
yeah.
I've watched that.
Nice.
What was it? I don't know. Did I watch a video or did I see an article? I can't remember. But it was a
maybe.
little while ago, yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw that. And I think Nick Tobias actually was the architect who did, I think, Brezzy Whitney Glebe.
Oh, really?
So that was our second office.
Yeah, nice. The Glebe one.
I'm pretty sure.
It could have been. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Actually, if we just sidestep to real estate, I just thought about this.
Yeah.
You've seen the way as an industry that we package up and deliver videos. Mm-hmm. What do you think we get wrong? I have a view on it, but I want your view. What do you think we get wrong?
Speaking more generally and broadly about real estate videography and content, I feel like it lacks a lot of soul, to be honest with you. Like, I look at a lot of the video content and I'm just like, this is such a terrible way to showcase a home or a house. With a business that is led on curation, looking at these photographs and video, I'm just like, there's coffee cups in the middle of nowhere. There's these shitty books on the coffee table. Like, it hasn't been considered a whole heap. And the photography as well. I mean, the super wide lens, you're trying to make the space look bigger. The lights are all on. I'm probably sounding like a bit of a princess now, but like, when we look at the houses that we shoot, it's like, obviously we go to the extreme, we style it up, or we pull everything out and make it look clean and crisp. But we're moving through that space slowly, very considered. Again, we've got the voiceover from an architect or designer telling that story and referencing what you're seeing as well. You're trying to get a feel for the space, whereas real estate videography and content just kind of feels like a super intense snapshot of multiple different spaces without a narrative behind it. And again, this is a very vast generalization. Yeah, again, I think that's what we're trying to do, is just level it up and actually make it a little bit more curated and considered. But I must say, to Brezzik's credit, like, the video content you guys are creating and the Thomas's raps that he's doing, the way you guys are shooting homes and houses, you guys have taken that to another level. Like, that is great storytelling, even to the branding and the graphics over it as well. And you're seeing this slight shift and you're seeing more consideration with it. But I still think there is a long way to go to have that curated lens to property as a whole.
Yeah, it feels like energetically when you watch one of your videos or one of our videos, like there's a softness, but like this interesting layer to it. Whereas most real estate videos that I watch seem to be like high energy.
Yeah.
I feel like the property or the architect or the designer should complement, like the property and the architect should complement each other
Yeah.
in the video. But I feel like with real estate videos, it's the agent that tends to dominate. And yeah, the way we package up and deliver
Yeah.
the property seems second. I don't know what the answer is because I've never really done video.
Yeah.
I don't really like being on camera. Ironically, I'm doing this. But yeah, I think the way you like, I could watch your videos all day long. Literally, I think I have. But yeah, it's just, I was just curious on your take with how, like, what the industry does, or my industry does. What's something you're still trying to figure out?
Like more broadly and generally in life or business or...
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to figure out when and if I'll ever be open to balance, I think. And like you and I have had this conversation before about, you know, I'm early 30s, I'm so hungry and I'm so driven. Am I going to have this for the rest of my life? Or, you know, am I going to get to a point where I'm satisfied or happy at 40 and I'm happy to take the foot off the pedal? You know, like I've been told many times that like I'm addicted to momentum and intensity, which is a blessing and a curse. But I think I'm trying to figure out the answer of, you know, what does the next 5-10 years of my life look like? I don't know the answer. I'm just curious to see where it lands, but that's that balancing. I think building a business, it just needs to be out of whack. Like there's no one coming to save you. Like you've got to put it in yourself. So, and I understand that, and I'm happy to, and I love what I do because again, I feel like I've got the best job in the world, but I'm very curious to see if balance comes into play because I'm sure it'll have to at some point, but whether I'll be happy to.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
That takes, sometimes you think you've got it figured out, but you don't.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. If I asked your partner to describe you, how would your partner describe you?
Dedicated and passionate, I think she would say. Loves what he does. I mean, the beautiful thing about my partner, Britt, is that like she is so fucking amazing at what she does as well. And she's early 30s as well, amazing at her job. She's in London at the moment working on a massive project. So we're in similar mindsets at the moment where it's like, let's just work as hard as we can and just revel up these, you know, while we've got the energy as well. But yeah, I think she would describe me as, passionate, devoted, and competitive as well. Very competitive.
Do you ever switch off?
Occasionally, yeah, when I'm sitting in the sauna, it's nice to kind of just try and switch off, but probably not as much as I should, I would say. Do you?
I do now, yeah.
Yeah.
But the universe threw certain challenges at me, which gave me no choice but to reassess how I'm doing things. Yeah. And I feel like I've landed at a point where I'm just living an authentic life that I'm happy with. And it's sort of strange. And I know this might sound like a cop-out, but I feel like I have enough. And I'm grateful for the things that I have, but I've spent most of my life chasing. And just something changed in the last couple of years. And there's I could unpack so much, but this is about you. But there is a shift at some point. Yeah. I think in people, and I think it's sad if there isn't a shift, but there has to be something. But yeah, I can switch off now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it worth it? You love it now that you can switch off?
Yeah. I think as a result of switching off, I think I'm kinder to myself. I think I'm a better father to my children. I think I'm a better co-parent. Yeah. I think I'm a better friend. Probably what I may not be is like a better leader or staff member at work, because that's the balancing act where maybe the team doesn't get as much of, like, it's different when you're a leader and you're driving 100 sales. It's different to being a leader who's only driving 40 or 50 sales now, but the team's doing the rest. So probably that's one area of my life. But do you know what, Aiden, it's the question of what makes you happy. I don't think a lot of people can actually answer that. Yeah. If you ask somebody what makes you happy, I think a lot of people will struggle to answer that, because I didn't know how to answer that. So it took like an event for me to have a sit down and think about, hang on, whatever I've been doing is not going to work. But what do I want my life to look like? And what would a life of design, or whatever that term is, look like? What does make me happy? And I think I gave you the example off camera. And probably it might be a good example for the audience. So this morning, I read I watched something on social media, and it was about an agent that had earned like an astronomical amount of money last month. And I sat there, and probably for a millisecond, I questioned myself, and I was like, why didn't I do that? But then I thought about it, and I thought, well, let me just recap on my morning. I've gone and trained with one of my best mates. I've gone and had a coffee with him after training. I've gone from there and driven to icebergs and had a swim and sat in the sun for 20 minutes by myself. From there, I've called one of my other best mates and met him for coffee and breakfast and sat in the sun. Bumped into another friend who I said hi to. And at that point, it's probably 9:30 a.m. and I'm still in my boardies. And I thought to myself, I'm actually pretty happy right now. And I guess I've just learned that there's a balance, and then you can tip the scales. By chasing more, there's something you have to sacrifice. So I'm just trying to figure that out now. But I don't know, in 5 years from now, I might be questioning like this way of thinking. I might be saying, oh, what are you talking about? Maybe I want to chase more. But right now I feel pretty content.
Nice. So are you saying you can answer that now, of what makes you happy? Like after
definitely.
that morning this morning, you can answer that?
Definitely, yeah. And you know what's interesting, like the big pieces that make me happy? So this apartment that you're in now, like I record in my apartment for a reason, because I want people to come into my home. Because I'm so I love this space. I walk through my front door, and I just like my nervous system just relaxes. I've picked everything that you see in here. I picked, and it's not like to the level of what you photograph and video, but everything in here makes me so happy. So my home is beautiful. I love being in the sun. I love being in the water. I love hanging out with friends. I love being present with my kids. Like all that sort of stuff actually doesn't cost a whole lot of money. So I think I do. Like I've got a sauna and an ice bath on the balcony. And like, that's one of my favorite things to do every day. And like, okay, I know you have to buy the sauna, you have to buy the ice bath, but to do it now doesn't really cost anything. And I do it like daily.
Love it.
And I showed you some other health stuff that I've got, like a red light and a mat in my room. And like, I just love that sort of stuff. I love music in here. It's just real basic stuff that makes me happy is what I've learned. So
that's unreal. It's a beautiful apartment, mate. It's really, really
thank you.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's got sunlight. So yeah.
North facing, did I hear?
Northwest. I don't own it, just for the record, but I don't care. It's my home. And I don't, do you know what? The fact that I don't own it, I don't feel any pressure. I used to. From the age of 21, I was in the property market. And as a result of a separation, I'm not in the property market anymore. And I would have beat myself up about that. Literally beat myself up about that. The fact that I don't own a property, I'm renting. I just could not care less now. And it's really interesting because I think culturally as well, I'll just share this. I was in the change rooms at Icebergs, and the two guys probably in their 60s. And one of the guys, this was just, I think it was yesterday morning, one of the guys said to the bloke, where do you live? And the guy felt the need to say, I'm renting here, but I own a property over there. And I was like, why did you have to differentiate between where you rent and where you own or share that you own as well? Like, it wasn't just, I live in Coogee. But as a society, I feel like we put ourselves under that pressure that you have to own a property and anyway, a lot of that has just disappeared for me. So
that's good.
I hope it doesn't come back.
Fingers crossed.
All right. I want to ask you some personal stuff, right?
I was going to add to that though, Adrian. I was just going to mention, and it's also a question for you as well, but it's like, for me, when you ask me like what makes you happy, or asking that question, like the thing for me that I think will make me happy is this vision of and this is why I work so hard and why I'm so driven, is that I've got this picture in however many years, and it's me, my family, young kids, in a beautiful home in Temerema. It's a Sunday, we're having a lunch and we're looking out to the ocean, right? That is my perceived happiness, and something that I feel in however many years that will make me content as a person. But at the same time, chasing that vision also makes me happy, despite all the things that come with working so hard, the late nights, the lack of balance or anything like that. Do you think you can have both, where you understand what your happiness is and you enjoy the pursuit of it, but it comes at a cost?
I think you can have both. So this is what I would say. That vision that you have is unbelievable, but you don't have to be in a $30 million house to be happy with your children and your wife. Because there are plenty of people that are in $30 million houses that are unhappy. So that's where I would challenge somebody just on that belief. But I still think it's amazing that that's what you want to angle towards, and that's the vision. I say the same thing about money. There are billionaires that are stressed about money today. So is money really the issue? You know, and there are people that basically don't have much, and they're really happy. Sometimes I'm envious of people like that. I'm like, how can you be so happy or just so confident or whatever it may be? So I think you can have both. And if you're in a position to create a vehicle, and you know, you are creating a vehicle, so yeah, absolutely. I think I just look at it slightly differently. I would say that the biggest change for me, and what advice I'd give to someone who's 10 years younger than me, is just to establish what are your priorities. Because that's how you determine whether you're living an authentic life. Now, my priorities are pretty simple. It's my health, it's my children, it's my work, and it's socializing. So every decision I make comes in that order. I will always prioritize those 4 things in that order. That's how I know I'm living an authentic life. If I pick work over seeing my kids one night, or if I have to stay back, then that for me is purely discernment. I know why I'm doing it, but it's not going to be the norm. So that's firstly how you live an authentic life, I think. That's just my simple formula. There's another thing I think for, you know, really ambitious people, and, you know, especially when it feels like the sky's the limit. What I would say is, if you don't have any parameters around, you know, perhaps what you want the year to be or the next couple of years to be, then you just get stuck in the space that I was in, which is just chase, more, and you're never present, your head's always spinning, and you just don't know what you're aiming for. So again, I'll give you a real example. So my performance at work has been pretty solid this year, but in the last couple of months it's come off. But what I did last month, and probably in July when I wasn't even here, I was away, like my figures weren't as good as what some of the other agents were. So I sort of momentarily again beat myself up. And then I always come back down to, no, hang on a second. At the start of the year, actually it was the end of last year, I came up with a program of where I wanted to be all year. So let's forget about what this person's doing or what that person's doing. Where am I now compared to the person that I wanted to be? And ironically, I was in the exact same spot. So here I was beating myself up, but I momentarily lost sight of, you know, I got back into this comparison game. So I think that's one of the things that can help ambitious people with a bit of mental clarity or a bit of headspace, which is, all you can do is compare yourself to where you want to be. I would say have a goal, but also have a stretch goal. But your goal shouldn't make you feel sick. So for somebody like you, I don't want to give you advice because you're so much more successful than me. But what I would say, just from a mental headspace type thing, is, you know that you're trying to set the world on fire, but don't get stuck in the I can do more. Just plan out where you think you want to be. Yeah. Because if you're meeting all your targets, the only person you're competing with is yourself.
That's right.
So if you just stick to that, then it also, like if you're ahead of where you want to be right now, based on what you said at the start of the year, that's amazing. That gives you some mental headspace. Yeah. Because the alternative is, I need more. Like, I don't know, like that person's doing this. And you sort of get stuck in that. Yeah. So I would say priorities are important. and just to have some sort of way to measure yourself against the person that you want to be. And sometimes you'll be ahead, sometimes you'll be behind. But if you don't have something, then you're always chasing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
Yeah. And does it make, like, I love that vision that you have. And I have no doubt that you will get it. And I want everyone to do well. Like, I believe in that. So I think it's amazing. The only thing I would say is it's ironic that we actually don't need much to be happy with.
No.
Yeah. All right. So we just had a 15-minute intermission. So you could think about.
Thank you.
The same question. Who's your favorite?
My favorite? Who's
your favorite designer right now?
Yeah, my favorite, and I'll answer it in terms of like who I want designing that dream house of mine in the future. There's two parts to it. So there's the architecture. There's this young fella down at Melbourne. He's down in the Ninch called Liam Eastop, and he is Eastop Architecture. Bit of a concrete specialist, and I think growing up on a building site, like, there's just this natural affinity for me for concrete, and I think there's something to be said about, you know, like protective walls and surrounding around you. So like when I think about this house in Temerema, it is kind of like this beautiful concrete monolithic exterior, but the interiors is going to be a hell of a lot softer and more kind of like warm. It'll have a lot more personal memorabilia. And I think from an interiors perspective, I'd probably look to get Thames and Johnson in there to work alongside myself and Britt to design it, just to layer it so it's not this cold shell in the middle of Temerema, but that it just has these beautiful layers. But yeah, I mean, from all the traveling I've done, I've got so many little collectibles and items and little things that we've picked up in Italy or Europe or even Japan, for example. It's about layering that concrete with the help of Tem. And getting it done.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Have you bought that property yet?
No, not as of yet. Give me a few more years.
Okay, I think some of if any agents are listening to this.
Yeah, please give me a nudge.
Okay, my next series of questions, I'm going to confess, I went out and got some like professional help from a few people.
Love it. Yeah.
So, okay.
Good.
Now, from what I understand, so Chloe Matters Made.
Yes.
Mentioned to me that you guys may have been at an event and that you looked to the crowd for some questions and that you looked at her and she just looked back at you and didn't give you anything.
Absolute crickets. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's taken the opportunity now.
Oh, lovely.
To ask a whole series of questions.
Beautiful.
And just to make sure, I also reached out to Adrian Oddi.
Lovely.
From Zippy.
Yeah.
From Surface Gallery, and I said, is this okay? And he was like, love it. Make sure you ask all those. All right.
So I'm about to get a grilling from these two.
This is a grilling from Chloe and Age. Right. Okay. What's the most exciting emerging designer or supplier you've come across lately that no one's talking about yet?
Yeah, I think in terms of emerging designers, what's his name? We can chop this in a sec, but what's his bloody name? Can I just get
go
there's
for
this
it.
young fella.
Go for it.
What's his name? Okay, yeah. Cool. So I think in terms of emerging designers, and unironically, he actually won our Emerging Designer Awards a couple of years ago, but there's this fella called Will from Studio Plenty up in Byron. He is early 30s, give or take, but the work he's doing from light years up in Byron, now in Perth, he's doing kind of hotels around Australia and in Indo. He's doing some beautiful residential. And this guy's energy, when you meet him, he's just this passionate, down-to-earth, hungry guy who everyone gets along with, but he is so fucking talented. So Studio Plenty is one to watch out for sure.
Awesome. And Light Years, that's a restaurant in Byron.
That's the one,
Yeah. That was awesome. Yeah,
nice.
So good.
Cool.
If you could only collaborate with one designer or studio for the rest of your life, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's rough. One designer. Well, I'd have to say Chloe, I'd say. That'd be good fun. She would be entertaining nonetheless. So, and I'm sure she'd have plenty of questions. But no, I would say, honestly, it might be maybe Madeline Blanchfield, I feel like would be good fun. She's super talented. I feel like she's the queen of the eastern suburbs in terms of all these big houses going up around there. It's got Madeline Blanchfield signage all over it. And having met her and known her for quite some time now, she's just a great person as well, easy to get along with. So I'll say Madeline.
Okay. Did she do that house in Tama on the corner where the park is?
She did. Spot on. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always admired that.
It's a beauty, that one. You should see her own home down at Bronte as well. I've spent a bit of time there from filming it, and it's just, you know, those homes that you walk into and it just feels like a home. It's just like so homely, just so peaceful and zen. She has absolutely nailed that place.
Amazing. I think what we'll do is, like, in the show notes, we'll put some of these links. So if anyone's watching, we'll give you links to all the designers and the houses that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Again, from Chloe, is there a trend you secretly wish would just die already?
You know what? I know she's ChatGPT these questions as well, because I asked GPT this morning to ask me some questions for a panel I'm hosting, and that exact way it was asked was in there. I know she's a big fan of GPT as well, so busted. What is a trend I would hope would die immediately? Big bulky fucking windows. They're so gross. Like, you know, when you walk into those houses or apartments and they've just got those big chunky like steel things around it. That is such an unsexy detail, and it can just ruin a place or a photo. So if we can get rid of that immediately, that would be excellent.
Good, noted.
Yeah.
On the topic of ChatGPT, I asked her the same question, but she bit back at me and said, I asked the questions, but I kept reshaping the questions, and I was like, okay. Okay, well, you like this one. What's one designer or project that you think is overrated right now?
Oh, what the hell? I'm going to get crucified. One designer or project I think is overrated. Oh, fuck, that's brutal. I should have saved Chloe for that one, just to stitch her up. That would have been good. No, I'm going to plead the fifth on that because it'll ruffle some feathers, but I've got a couple in mind. Yeah.
We'll put the links in the show.
Yeah. Side links down the bottom. Yeah.
Which interview or feature has completely surprised you in the best or worst way?
You know, like there was these young architects that we featured up in Byron, actually housemates of Will from Studio Plenty. And we featured this home that they designed, beautiful home. It was inspired by Japanese culture, and they've done an amazing job. They've put in like Inax Japanese tiles, just beautiful use of timber. It's a really beautiful, peaceful home. But the catch is that YouTube is such a vocal community, and there's some absolute rogue people out there as well. And these two are the sweetest couple. They presented so well. They talked about their love for Japan, and the comment section just went off. And this kind of just talks about, again, just how many weirdos there are out there. But they were just ripping in about, you know, insensitivities to Japanese culture, what they had to say about these guys. It was really disappointing. But I guess that's the price you pay when you have not just your own massive audience, but when your content is getting pushed and elevated into new audiences and, you know, all sorts of corners of the internet. You're just going to get some hate along the way. And it was just a really disappointing thing to see, is that, and sure, there was a shit ton of really positive comments as well, but we've just had to continually delete rogue comments because there's just some people out there, and it's done close to 1 million views, but people have too much time on their hands. So
yeah, I find that weird when people write negative stuff. I mean, hopefully no one does it right now, but I find it. I did an interview for someone recently. Yeah. And then there was like 150 comments.
Nice.
And then one person wrote a negative comment and misquoted me too. So I wrote back like, "You've misquoted me."
Yeah.
And then he bit back at me again. So I got his phone number and I rung him. And it was just,
did you know him personally?
No. I said, "It's Adrian Oddi calling from Brezwick Whitney. Like you're commenting on my post, and I just want to clear something up." And he was like, "Oh, right." But we actually had a good conversation. But that was the moment that I learned that I think it's sad how much weight negative words carry online, because I know most people go to the negative comments, not the positive comments.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that I learned is that, like, what he wrote, like, if I saw him on the street, this is the example I give, and he said to me, "Hey mate, you should go to the gym or change your car or something like that, or parent differently," I'd say, "Thank you, but like, I think I'll do my own thing over here."
Yeah, yeah.
But sadly, when it's online and it's in a comment section, like, it's there, and all of a sudden it's an opinion that counts, even though it's from someone who shouldn't count.
So true.
So yeah, that was my personal. I didn't know how to deal with it. So
you know what though, it's like they go fishing for your reply, and you kind of play into it when you comment back or you get in a back and forth. I mean, good on you for calling him as well, because that's the ultimate checkmate and calling him out on it. But I feel like a lot of these negative comments online, and it's always the negative ones that make the loudest noise, to your point, that's all they're doing, is they're just fishing for someone to bite back and getting a little back and forth, because they've got not much else to do. So
yeah, it's sort of a bit. I don't actually understand it. What's one thing a designer can do instantly that makes you respect them?
Just the patience that you need to have to be a designer. Like, I think about architects working on projects for 3 or 4 years and seeing it out to completion, whether it's a home or a commercial building. There is no way in the world I could have the patience to do something for 4 years and just the one singular thing. So the patience that these, men and women have to stick something out and go from, the build, the nitty gritty, the highs and the lows, that is something I could never ever take away from them. And I tip my hat to them for sure. Yeah.
I've only had a tiny bit of exposure through Chloe's work. And I just, like, sometimes for a job, she's got like 60 folders on it. And I'm like, I don't know how you do what you do.
Yeah.
And people change their mind all the time. And like, I deal in emotions as a real estate agent, and agents deal, but like, the indecisiveness. I don't know how they do it.
It's insane.
Yeah. What design style secretly makes you cringe, even if it's popular?
You know what? There is one. I guess it's not really a design style, but having launched in the US, well, we technically launched a few years ago, but opened our office about a month ago now. Going through and sifting through projects in the US, homes and houses, I mean, it's Americans, right? They are so over the top in a good way, and they love to celebrate greatness. But we get, 200, 300 submissions of homes per week, a lot from the US, and their design style, a lot of it is just so excessive. And it doesn't make me cringe per se, but it is so different to Sydney, Melbourne, Australia, and New Zealand. And it's just, that's the reason why we launched there, is because the US look to Australia and New Zealand as world leading in design because of that kind of curated lens and the sensitivities that we have to design. That's why we've got over 1 million audience members in the US. But again, it doesn't make me cringe, but it's just the over the top furnishing, the intense wallpapers, the gold leaf stuff everywhere, not my cup of tea at all.
How do you feel when, okay, so we went to Queenstown this year, and we stayed in an Airbnb, and I just felt like just the outside was beautiful, but the decor, I just did not feel like myself, because I was like the bedding, just the decisions that they made. How do you feel? Like, how do you think a good space can make you feel? And why do you feel when you're in not such a nice space? Like, what's the polarity, or what's the difference there?
Yeah, it happens in New Zealand a bit, where it's like they put so much love and emphasis on the outside and the architecture and how it sits in the landscape. And it's often the interiors that lack a little bit, because typically only one architect or one interior designer will work on a project, where in Australia, if you're working with an architect, you're often working with an interior designer as well. So there's that consideration for outside as well as inside. But I know what you mean. Like, I feel like it's obviously important that the outside of a home or an Airbnb looks amazing, but it's really those objects inside and moving through the space that makes it feel like a home. And that's why talking about my dream home, like those personal little touches, creating a sense of warmth, creating a sense of homeliness as well. Like I'm a big fan of conversation pits. Like I can't wait to hopefully design one in my house as well, where you kind of feel comfortable and safe and protected. Maybe there's a fire in the middle there as well. Beautiful materials on the lounge. You just want spaces where you can congregate and actually have a good conversation, and that you kind of feel, again, warm, safe, and considered. And yeah, I mean, there's some rogue decor out there and furnishings and everything, but at the same time, like furniture's bloody expensive too. So it is hard to kind of feel the brief on both ends.
Do you feel like good design can make you happy?
Yeah, I feel like it can make you comfortable, and then through that, it can make you, I guess, happier to an extent. But to your earlier point, you can have a beautiful, amazing home, a big $30 million, but it might not bring happiness, right? But yeah, I think it makes life a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah. Sorry if I labelled your house 30 million. It could be worth a lot more than that. So
60, mate. Can we just get that straight?
That was land value I was talking about. Sorry, mate.
That's all good.
AI. Could AI ever design a home that's worthy of the local project?
That's a really great question. Like design from like start to finish? I don't think so. I feel like there's always got to be human hands on it and human interaction. I think AI, I'm a massive fan of AI. I love it. I use GPT all day, every day. I'm so curious to all the advancements happening. But I think similar with video production and design and architecture, you need that human interaction to sit with, understand, talk to, be human to human to understand what makes them tick and what makes them feel like home is home. I don't think AI has the intelligence at the moment to do that. But even if and when it does, I feel like you still need that human touch, because having a robot on site sketching a design for you, it just doesn't tick the box for me, unfortunately.
Doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Government policies, do they shape how we live more than architects do?
I don't really know the answer to that. I'm not really plugged into government policies and that side of things too much. I listen to architects complain all the time about, getting through council and all that crap, and I'm here for it and will support them where I can. But I'm kind of, blissfully ignorant, where we just get these beautiful homes sent to us once they're done, and we don't really get to see the blood, sweat and tears and policies they've had to dodge to get there as well. So yeah, naivety is a blessing yet again.
You know what's interesting in my field? I see so many people buying houses that they want to renovate, and then what they do is they get the DA and then they sell.
Yep.
And typically they're selling because they couldn't get what they wanted designed, or the build cost is so much more exorbitant than what they ever priced.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many houses I sell with DA approval.
Yeah.
So that seems to be like a real common frustration, but I feel like in my market, which is Balmain, but I'm sure this happens in every market, maybe, I don't know, architects are getting a little bit better at, I think as they do more and they have more exposure to council, there's a guy in Balmain who I refer a lot of business to, because I say to everyone, just talk to him. It's like talking to council, because he's got so many projects in council right now. He knows what they're going to say yes and no to, or should know.
Nice.
Which I find actually quite helpful. Have you heard about the tax that the government wants to put on a spare bedroom?
I have, yeah. Is it fake news though? I feel like they'll never do it. It seems like insanity for them to understand what we're doing with our spare bedroom and charge a tax for it. Is it going to go ahead?
I don't know. But hypothetically, let's say it did. Do you think that would change how people design?
I guess so, yeah. I guess on the plans they'd make it look like not a spare bedroom, but then as soon as they got sign off, a bed's going straight in there. But yeah, it seems so rogue to me that they can decide and tax you on that. It seems a little bit bizarre in my ever so humble opinion.
Yeah, that's It's so funny that you just said they'll make it look like something else.
Yeah, 100%.
That's like most cinemas that you see in houses and
Literally,
most
right?
basements.
Oh, people are so cheeky with that stuff. Even basements and garages and stuff. I know there's so many basements that are just off the record. Council won't be seeing that, or they won't know it's down there.
Yeah, I won't comment, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's an unpopular opinion you hold about design or architecture?
An unpopular opinion. I don't know if it's unpopular, but like my general belief about design and architecture now is that 10, 15 years ago, it was quite an elitist thing. Like only the rich could afford it is what people would say. And like it was only for, people who had a degree in it. But I think one of the best things, and hopefully we've played a very small part in this, is that design and architecture is so much more normalized now through connection through socials and digital and print, and everyone being it's just so plugged in online as well. But I think nowadays, like I meet a lot of people who are fans of the local project or Architectural Digest, whatever it might be, and it differs from like my 11-year-old nephew to my 55-year-old old teacher or whatever it might be. So just to see the amount of, I guess, love and appreciation, which was considered a relatively elitist sector, is something that I love, and hopefully people agree and see that as well.
Awesome. Just coming back to you for a second, who do you lean on when things get tough?
Yeah, I've been asked this before. I don't really have a mentor per se, which is, I haven't really gone looking for one, to be honest, but I think I'm lucky where, although I don't have a mentor, I have a lot of friends that are in similar positions to me, that are business owners or, love to work, or are just in a similar mindset. And there's nothing more than I love than going for a nice lunch or dinner and having a chat about that. But I don't have a mentor, which it's not something you can just sign up for either. I'm kind of organically waiting for it to happen. But I just lean on my mates for the most part, and again, the leaders around me too.
That's good. So if I ask your closest friends to describe you in one word, what would they say?
Depends if they're taking the piss or not, but I think, what would they say? Just driven, honestly. Like, they know I'm competitive, and that's why I'm friends with them as well, is that they're incredibly competitive too. And like we said earlier today, it's like the 5 people you surround yourself, you become. My best mates and my closest friends are just hungry and competitive with one another, whether it's running, business, just life in general, or who can eat more at Yumcha. Like, we are so competitive.
That's my kids.
Yeah, nice.
They'll definitely win.
Good.
Best piece of advice you've been given, and worst?
Yeah, the best piece of advice I heard and was given, and this was a few years ago, from one of my financial advisors, Big Tim, and he's brilliant at what he does, brilliant at crunching numbers. But I remember he just said to me, and this is purely from a business sense, no one's coming to save you, Aidan. Like, no one is going to miraculously come out of nowhere and just give you the golden ticket for you to become a billionaire or whatever you want in life. And I guess I always knew that in the background, but just having it said to me in person that you've got to do this yourself, that has stuck so solidly as well. That no one's, when you're feeling shit or when, things are going wrong, you've got to get yourself out of it. And that one was a really brilliant piece of advice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
My end goal is to have some sort of mentoring program. And that's what I would say as my first bit of advice for someone.
Yeah.
Exactly. You are responsible, only you, for where you are right now. And no one's coming to save you, and you just have to accept responsibility for that.
Yeah. It's so obvious though, isn't it? But it's like, until you actually say it or see it on paper, it doesn't fully click in your mind. Like, there is, yeah.
Well, even
there's
like
no parachute.
sometimes you feel like you want someone to come and save you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, things aren't going right. Or,
Yeah.
But it's only you can do that. I find that really fascinating. It's so interesting that you said that, because I've been talking about this, and that would be the very first piece of advice that I would give everyone. You are responsible for where you are.
Yeah.
Sometimes we are the problem. And I know that's not a nice way to speak to yourself, but to accept responsibility and say, only I can fix this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's awesome.
What's the best bit of advice you've been given? Bit of your own medicine, mate.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't know, man. When I think about it, because of the challenges I've had, like people would always say to me, you just can't go full pelt all the time. You just, you can't win all the time. And it's funny because that concept of not winning and not getting better every year and possibly going backwards was so foreign to me. So if I was saying this to myself 5 years ago, I'd be like, mate, you're a fucking loser. Like everyone wins. Winners win, and you keep getting better every year. Things don't go backwards. And then like I went backwards, right? So it's sort of interesting because I was given that advice, but I didn't listen to it. And so the best piece of advice I've probably got came from the universe, which came in the form of sickness and came in the form of a separation, because that's what, I just had to reevaluate everything. So yeah, sometimes I think there's a saying, we hear it a lot in real estate, sometimes the best gifts come badly wrapped, or maybe the best advice can come badly wrapped. I'm not sure.
Very true.
Just a couple more questions and we're done.
That's cool.
You've said the best is yet still to come, and I believe you. What excites you most about what's next?
I think for me, like, I genuinely believe us as a business, we're at like 4% capacity of where we could be. And like I talk about the US and launching there and having the New York office and everything like that. The reason why that excites me is twofold. Like the US, first and foremost, like they celebrate greatness. And I feel like in a world, especially in Australia and New Zealand, there is this tall poppy around us, right? Where you can do well in life or business or whatever. It's sometimes hard to be celebrated or to celebrate that because we're all competitive here or whatever it might be. But you go to the US and like I love going to these meetings where managers and CEOs and brand managers and whatnot are going, we are great. And, the people around them are saying, you guys are great, and there's this celebration there. But another thing about the US I find is that just by virtue of numbers, like businesses that do okay in the US are incredibly successful financially. But if you take an Australian mentality and a Kiwi mentality and apply that to the US and you rise to the top, like the world is your oyster 100%. And the reason why I'm so excited about the US is that, again, they look to Australia as world leading in design and architecture. And they know all the architects' names, they know all the designers' names. There is this deep obsession there, and I don't think we actually realise it here. And that on top of, there's this amazing gap in the market there where Architectural Digest won't touch a home unless there's a celebrity attached to it. We're going there, we're knocking on these homes and architects and designers and saying, hey, can we film this, beautiful property that you guys have designed in Big Sur? And they're going, yeah, absolutely, get in here. Like we've never been asked that before because the celebrity doesn't own it or there's not much publishing over there. So I think the US, if done correctly over the next 5-10 years, is just going to change us. But that's not necessarily through celebrating the US. It's actually kind of embracing Australia and taking that over to the world as well.
Amazing. Do you have a favorite property
in Australia?
In the world?
In the world? I don't really. I mean, like there's quite a few I've been to. Again, like Madeline's home down at Bronte was special. I went to Peter Stutchbury, this OG amazing architect's own home in Palm Beach recently. That was bizarre and wild, but like magnificent in its own way. And then I think about some of the work Durback Block Jaggers do in Watergoes or around Sydney. I don't have a favourite.
Peter Stutchbury.
Yeah.
Did he design those cabins with, or have I got him mistaken with somebody else, with Oscar from Pedestrian TV? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't. No. Peter's... I don't think it would have been Peter. He's very old school and strictly touches like 20, 30 plus $1 million houses, but you never know.
It must be another Peter.
Yeah.
Okay.
A few. Yeah.
Okay. Last few questions. If you could relive one moment from your journey so far, what would it be?
Honestly, I remember coming out of COVID, and it had been me and James, my right-hand man, working in my spare bedroom. And this is when the business was like 3-4 people max. And during COVID, everyone was plonked on their couch looking for content to watch. And we went from 10,000 YouTube subscribers to 750,000, which meant like we had 5,000 new magazine subscribers. Our Instagram started popping off. Like it was a wild couple of years. And coming out of it, I had gone from 3 staff members to literally 31 in the space of like 18 months.
Wow.
And I remember we got a new office. We were sitting there and we just moved in. It had been a few weeks, and sitting down at my desk after having spent the last 2 years in my spare bedroom tapping at a laptop, and I looked around to see like 30 other people around me. And I was like, when did this happen? And how did this happen? Like, what is going on? And I've always been guilty of never being one to kind of stand still and actually look back and reflect and embrace the things that we've done. But that moment was just like oh wow, I think we're doing something pretty special here.
I love that.
Yeah, it was
So
good times.
good.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
good. What's the one question you wish I didn't ask you today?
What was the one I didn't answer? There was
Your favourite designer?
Yeah, no, that one was fine in the end, but there was the second one that stumped me before the what have you learnt in the last year?
I don't know. There was a few that stumped you.
Yeah,
so.
there was actually about 17, wasn't there?
Now I'm worn out too. I can't remember.
Yeah.
What's the one question you wish that I did ask you that I haven't asked you?
The one question... I would have loved if you asked about my team now and what they're like, because it's like I so often, talk about me and the business and the growth we've had, and I'm always saying there's 70 of us now, which is an amazing feat. But like honestly, and I know it's a little bit cliche and cheesy, but to my point about surrounding myself with amazing leaders, it's not just the leaders that make this business what it is today, but like we have this phenomenal team of almost 70 people that are like high performers, great people, so friendly with one another, and they all get along inside, outside of work. And like, I think I'm just lucky, and I've learnt the hard way over the years of how to build a team, and I still have so far to go with that as well. But I'm so grateful that my team at the moment is they just gel, and they just get it, and they're passionate and hungry and high performing. And I've been in really sad spots where I've had the team, and it's, I've had arguments and disagreements with other leaders, and it's just gone sour. And there's only been one time in my whole career where I just haven't been happy to be at work, and that was when I was, just having a bit of a tiff with one of the leaders. But I'm happy now because of the people around me in a work sense, and I'm pretty proud of that.
How did you resolve that tiff?
I fired him. No, I can't. He left the business, actually, to be fair. So it was just a disagreement, and I was mid-20s, he was early 40s, and I was still understanding the dynamic of having people much older than me and how that works in a business. And we just didn't see eye to eye, and that's okay. Like, that's life. It was just unpleasant. Started getting a little bit personal on other ends, but and again, I was so emotionally invested in this business, and at that point still mid-20s, so everything I took was quite personal. So it was just a sticky situation. We probably both did wrong at the end of the day, but a really good lesson to learn as well.
If your team was listening right now, what would you say to them?
I would say to them, like, in relation to that issue, or just in general?
No, just in general.
I just say, like, thank you. Like, I just thank you for what you guys are doing. Like, I think thank you for seeing the vision that I have set, but I think more importantly, helping shape and mold that vision as well. Like, I think to talk again about the tunnel vision I had for the first 5 years of the business, it wasn't until I opened it up and said, these guys and girls around me are amazing. Let me help. Let me get them to help shape the vision. That's when we went absolutely gangbusters. So, yeah, just thank you.
Amazing. Before I thank you, I just thought of one more question.
Yeah, hit me.
This is more from a clothing point of view. Because I love the top you got on.
Thank you.
You're always in awesome suits.
As are you.
Yeah.
Love the kit.
So where do you? Who's your favorite clothes designer?
Yeah. Well, my suits are P. Johnson through and through. I think Patrick takes way too much of my money. Yet to get a dissy from him as well, actually. So I'll have to have a word to him about that. But P. Johnson, my suits. Loewe, they're a client now. This is the thing. We've started working with all these amazing luxury brands. So I'm very lucky that, you know,
That's
we get
Hermes
sent a lot
there,
of
right?
stuff. Hermes, yeah. Commas is this top, and I'm a massive Commas fan.
Love.
They're bloody awesome. The guys are great, Emma and Richard. But yeah, no, I love fashion. I think the intersections between design and fashion is good fun. So
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I've got my whole wardrobe is basically P. Johnson as well.
nice,
So
lovely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to say thank you. I really appreciate your time, and I want to extend that to your team for the incredible work that you've done. I mean, I personally think, I'm not an authority or a voice on this, but my personal view is that you've lifted the whole, like the awareness and the way you've delivered architecture and design. I've never experienced anything like it, and I've spent 23 years in the property space. When I was furnishing this place and feeling a little bit disconnected because of the stage of my life I was in, I literally watched your videos for 2 days straight, took screen grabs of bits and pieces that I liked, and it had that enormous influence on me. So, you know, outside of, it's just such leadership in the architect and design world. It's just incredible. And there was, I think you featured our office, our Mossman office, is that right?
Yeah,
with those architects, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I respect and admire you so much, what you've created, what the local project is, and I really appreciate your time today. So thanks for coming on.
No, my pleasure. Thank you so much. It's honestly a really great conversation, Adrian, and I appreciate yours just as much.
Pleasure.
Thanks, mate.
Awesome.